A very good morning, fellow colleagues, student teachers, and everyone who has logged on to this virtual celebration. It is my pleasure to be invited as the guest of honor for this year's Chinese New Year celebrations organized by the CLEAR Club, the Chinese Language Education and Research Club. In a few days, in fact, in just 2 days, we will be welcoming the first day of the Lunar New Year. So first, let me wish everyone a joyful year of peace, good health, and abundance. 祝愿大家身体健康，岁岁平安，年年有余，吉祥如意，新春快乐。The Lunar New Year, also known as the 春节 to many ethnic Chinese around the world, or in Singapore simply as 过年, marks the beginning of a year with aspirations for all things good ahead. It's a significant traditional event for all Chinese, and the festival is very often celebrated by visiting relatives and friends, catching up over food and drinks, and receiving and giving ang baos. This festival is also often marked by crowded restaurants, by people going for reunion dinners on New Year's Eve, and even the watching of lion dance performances in the neighborhood or in malls. But that was all before the global pandemic. This year, we will be celebrating Chinese New Year in a more subdued manner in Singapore, but I hope it hasn't lessened the significance of this festival for you. Chinese New Year isn't just about eating or shouting greetings over lo hei or squeezing in the crowds of the Chinatown street bazaar. It is a celebration of hope. Now, I'm sure many of us are familiar with the legend of the creature Nian and its banishment by the color red and loud noises. Now, while the symbolisms of wearing red color clothing and having boisterous gathering is reminiscent of this tradition, we must also remember that a new spring day will begin after a long winter's night. 漫漫长夜过去，听到一声鸡啼, the lyrics of the song 恭喜恭喜 reminds us that eventually day will break. So if we look back to 2020, we had a lot of hope, but the global pandemic has changed our lives in different ways. We have to learn to adapt, whether it is through home-based learning, working from home, or doing online shopping for that matter. It was a long and dreary process where we were cooped up at home during the circuit breaker, but looking back, I think it seemed to have just passed like yesterday. With a national vaccination plan in place, I think we may finally be able to see some degree of normalcy in 2021. Although a full recovery to pre-COVID activities may still not be possible, but it's certainly a step towards the right direction, and we are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So we now have to persevere and push on, and it's definitely a time not to let our guards down. At the same time, we also shouldn't let this dampen our spirits. From all that we've learned from 2020, facing challenges, learning to overcome them, and then having to adapt, I think these are truly the highlights of the traits we want to see in an educator, being resilient and being adaptable. And so, this year, we learn to adapt. We will have the Chinese New Year celebration online. Despite this, there are some advantages and benefits to having an online celebration. For example, now you have a good view of the lion dance performance or any dance performance, even though you may not be in the venue, because in the past, at the venue, you have got to tiptoe, you got to look over people's shoulders just to see the performances. But now, I think we can see all the performances lined up for us today, no matter where you are seated. So as we look forward to the future and usher in the year of the ox, I think we should be thankful. And thankful because we are healthy and safe generally. So I would like to wish you, on that note, a very happy Chinese New Year with good health and happiness. 祝大家新春快乐，身体健康，恭喜发财，万事如意。Thank you, 谢谢, and have a happy New Year.